Ayaz Shafi is a corporate training professional. He's done quite a lot of work with a lot of African businesses. He's worked in the African market. He's been working here in Ghana for more than 10 years now. And he's also had, international work exposure in Nepal, Bangladesh, and not just on this continent. And he is credited with being the first author of the 4 drive theory of motivation. And this is because he's a behaviorist. And we're going to understand how do we create the right environment in the workplace, in our own personal lives, in our families, to drive growth, development, and the fulfillment of set goals. Ayaz, you're welcome to the Asasi Breakfast Show.
Thank you very much, Kweku.
It's, behaviorists are very interesting people.
Right.
It's as though, you decided that you would be intrigued by just watching how people behave and try to figure out what the triggers and things are. What drove you into that space?
Right. So about 20 years ago, when I decided to move into the space that I'm in now, it was easy for me to move into customer service or sales or marketing kind of training space. Mm-hmm. It was a conscious choice because I believed at that point in time, as I do even now, that everything that you do is driven by some basic pattern of behavior. It is predetermined. Mm-hmm. So for example, if I abuse you, you'll have a certain kind of response. You'll either look away, or you'll get angry, or you'll abuse back, or you'll fight with me, whatever. Some other people might have a very different kind of response to that. Let's say Gandhi would have responded very, very differently to that.
That's right.
Right. Now, we are looking at behavior because that defines your relationships. That defines your work pattern. That defines the kind of lifestyle you lead, right? That also defines your health, actually, if you really ask me. I mean, if you're looking at people who are prone to getting angry very easily or stress prone more because of their behavioral style, they will have health issues anyway. People who are calmer are more likely to have a steady health pattern, actually. So that's primarily the reason what drove me into behavior. And one thing led to another. I focused a lot more on leadership, on team playing abilities and skills. It's worked well. It led me to think about, reflect upon the old-fashioned way of looking at motivation, for example. And I was in disagreement with Maslow.
Okay,
because Maslow said there's an hierarchy of needs. Mm-hmm. I said there's no hierarchy. There's an intensity which varies with the triggers and with the situation, time of the day. You could have one particular motivator working very strongly at one point in time of the day. At another point of time in the day, something else could be working more strongly. So it's the intensity and not hierarchy that works basically.
That's actually a very bold, challenge on Maslow's theory, because I mean, any management student will quote that, verbatim and say,
right.
There's a hierarchy of needs, and right at the top of it is self-actualization. But so in a workplace, for somebody, a nice clean work environment is enough motivation to get the best out of them.
Right.
And for somebody else, you have to use a carrot and stick approach and say, okay, how do I, you can say, if you do this, you get this reward.
Right.
And if you don't do that, then you get punished.
Right.
And that's often what is used by way of motivation.
Right.
But you've turned this thing over its head.
Right.
I'd like you to just give us a contextual understanding of how this manifests. So this is a scenario: a leader leading troops to war.
Right.
You're going over terrain, the business terrain, the ups and downs, but there are times where people believe in the vision,
right,
but they just don't have the wherewithal within them to get them going.
Right.
How do you motivate different people feeling different things at different times to push towards one common goal?
Right. So even before we go into that, let's look at something very basic. Mm-hmm. Why does one join an army? Different people will have different reasons. Right? So I could join the army because I love my motherland. I could also join the army because I love the uniform. I like being in that uniform.
Okay.
I could also be somebody who's more about adventure, excitement, and you don't know till the time you get into the head of the other person. You don't know why exactly this person has gotten into the army. Right. Now, if I look at that basic fundamental premise that each one of these army men will have different kind of reasons for getting in, a good leader would find different kind of triggers for different people. Now, remember, when an army cannot march on empty stomach.
True.
Hitler learned it the hard way, Napoleon learned it the hard way, but that's a fact.